giving it 2 working days. Okay. So emergency, we're giving it dealing with an emergency, just giving it 2 working days, school fees loan 5 working days, and then development is being given 30 days. Although in practice, we try to process them earlier than that. Okay, those were the proposals to amend our loan policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosemary. We will open it to the floor. Any questions, clarifications, what people don't agree with? Vicky?
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Now, mine is maybe a recommendation and a question. The first one is about monthly deposits and saving. I think those are the same thing. It's the same thing. Monthly deposit and saving, according to the circle, is the same thing. So maybe what we can do, we can put into bracket saving so that it doesn't confuse people. Because I think it usually brings a lot of confusion between the savings and shares and all that. So I would suggest maybe we just retain the monthly deposits, but we also incorporate savings so that it means the same thing, because it's the same thing actually.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that is number one. Number two. Okay, on the number of days that takes that the policy will state for a member to get a loan. If I'm not wrong, the number of days previously we have been looking at the competition, actually the other circles, how long do they take to give a loan? For example, like a normal loan. If the policy, Jowes policy says that it will take 30 days for me to get a normal loan, and yet if I go to another financial institution and they give me, they tell me like in the next 3 days or in the next 1 week, you're going to get a loan. Which one do you think I'm going to go for? So I would suggest maybe we reduce the number of days. I don't know. Maybe you had the reason as to why we were increasing the number of days that it takes. But I think we should also factor in competition so that we see if we're also competitive in the market, or are we just working on our own terms? Then another thing was I think that is all. Let me think of the other question, then I'll raise my hand again. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicky. I agree with you on this one of monthly deposits. We could actually, that suggestion of yours is good. We could put savings so that we are very sure we are not confused, because initially people are getting confused with that. So I agree with that one. On the loan repayment, loan processing, because you're on the ground, can you suggest, and I believe the one that you're talking about is that development one, because you're on the ground, are you able to suggest, because you could suggest a realistic one? I believe you have no problem with the emergency and the school fees. So the development one, can you suggest a realistic one? That's why we have come to you, so that we get your input.
I think
Not
Rosemary.
really. I just gave an example of development that it
Yes.
takes days. Emergency, you said it takes 2 days. School fees takes like a week. I think, okay, my suggestion is we can have a look at how the other circles, okay, the duration the other circles take, so that we can see how we can make ours attractive. You know what
Yeah.
brings people mostly for a SACCO is getting a loan.
Yes.
And maybe if I see that your work will take a long time for to give me a loan, and another SACCO or another institution, and we also have these days we have so many table banking chamas and all that. If they're going to give me the same amount of money within a shorter period, and maybe I need that money like very fast, I think I would go for the faster one. So I think maybe we can have a look at the other institutions. We see how long it takes for somebody to get a loan, a particular loan, then maybe we can work around the duration. Because to me, 30 days is a very long time, especially in today's life. Thank you.
Yeah, can I say something before? So I'm in a SACCO, and for me to get a development loan, it will take about 2 months. Because when we're talking about development loan, it's not, it's usually a larger amount. So there's more documentation and there's more, what can I say? There's more checks that need to be done before you get that. And I think for this, and I should have let Brenda talk before I talk because she's more affected by this than I am. I think it's also to manage expectations of members, because when we put 5 days and we cannot give you that money within 5 days because we are going back and forth with documentation, we're asking you to provide more things, I think it's unfair to members. So I think it's also stems on integrity, is if we cannot do it within 5 days, then we should let members know and sort of extend the time period. So things like emergency loans, which I think, I don't know why it was put 2 working days, and probably Brenda can tell us that. Maybe that could be shortened and others. But for development loan, I think you'd find more SACCOs will take longer. And it's because it's usually a big amount. And saying 30 days doesn't mean you'll get it. You could even get it in 15 days or even 10 days. It's just that managing expectations, because people do call, they have been called at night several times being told, awinjoni nepoki sign, things like that. So it's just to manage those expectations of people that, if it's a development loan, if you're asking for, I don't know, 500,000, we're not going to give it to you. We are a small SACCO, I think. And I do take on board what you've said about being competitive, but I think there needs to be a balance as well. And I'll try to be a better moderator like Jack and not give my opinions. Brenda.
Hi. Wait, let me lower my hand first. I was going to say I tend to agree with you. Although the concern is valid and I get where it comes from, but I'm going to just look at it on the other side where, the SACCO is your SACCO, right? Look at it as your business, yeah? And within your business, you want to make a profit. You want to make sure that you're not putting your money and not making anything at the end of the year. Usually when proper due diligence is not done on bigger loans, they tend to become bad loans. And I think as a small SACCO, we're starting to see, I'm not going to give any information that might be discussed during the AGM, but we're starting to see tendencies of loans not getting paid in good times, or loans that were quickly approved and proper due diligence might have been missed. So then that puts your profits and your money at risk. And I think that, again, it hits your pockets at the end of the year. So we might be, and I think you've seen on the market where some other SACCOs, the opposite side, have given way too much, taken loans to give good benefits to attract more members. It's just about the front, how they present themselves in the front. But, you've seen things falling apart, Cusco and stuff like that. When things tend to be done very quickly and without consideration to risk management, sometimes things may fall apart, although we want to be staying in the middle ground. That 30 days as Irene mentioned, it might not be necessarily, I'm not sitting on it for 30 days. If I get it in my desk, 24 hours, it's out, because I also don't want it haunting me. But it's just that thing where if further due diligence needs to be done, there is no pressure on the person processing it that, oh my God, this thing is done. It should be done in 24 hours. Very easy to miss something or not to do some things properly because you're rushing against taking the time taking, so to speak. So yeah, that's what I wanted to bring out. So as a team, I think we even have a WhatsApp group. We process things in real time very quickly as much as possible. We discuss, we do this. So just to rest assured as members that we are actually doing a lot of work in the back to make sure that everything is processed in good time. Just we've noticed a tendency for us to some other bad eggs amongst the people taking the loans are starting to pop up, and we just want to make sure that we take care of those. Okay, I'm going to keep quiet now. Okay, Tobudo, Irokaman.
Do we have any more questions? What do people think about the loan policy? Any questions for Rosemary? Anything people think is missing that we should actually have amended or added?
Yes, I'll just have a
clarify.
suggestion.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I
please.
see we have had the school fees loan, we have the development loan, we have emergency loan. Could we also just have a loan? Maybe somebody wants to go for a tour or a visit, and we just have money that they can put aside to help them at the end of the year. Then they can be able to go for a travel wherever.
Is that like a saving?
Yes, it would be like a saving, but now specifically pegged to traveling. So they don't mix it with, we don't mix it with the normal savings. Like I want a development loan, then this one I now just want to save for travel, and I say I need 180,000. So I want to be saving from January to December. I get my 180.
We are proposing, so this was discussed, I think, in last month's AGM during the resolutions that are coming, and we are proposing certain saving accounts. They're going to be those fixed term where you can, because we're not a FOSA, we can't do one where you put your money and take it out as much as you like, but we are proposing that kind of saving. I think we're calling it Christmas saving, but yeah, it's something that you save from a certain time, and you'll only be allowed to withdraw it at a certain point in time. So mainly December, between us, maybe we'll give a 2-week period in December rolling through January where people can withdraw that money. So I think that was discussed last week. But that is there. It's coming for voting in the AGM. So if members vote for it, but I don't think there was specific for travel. We can add, travel in there, but there is we are calling it at the moment Christmas savings account. So you can do anything in there. You can put money for anything you want, but you can't take it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Go on, Brenda. You had a comment.
Oh, no, I was going to say that in terms of the loan policy, probably to specify the loan 1 versus loan 2, the difference in the two, so that when somebody is applying, they know what, especially I think that was the one, the Quara one, is it called instant 1 and 2? Just specify the difference, the slight difference between the two, so that when somebody is applying, they know which one. I guess that information is available somewhere, but yeah, I don't know if it's important to put it in here.
Yeah, it's in Quora as well. Come on, sorry. Hey, I'm a bad host. Rosemary.
If I
Rosemary, do you
remember
want to
correctly,
respond to Brenda?
It was 1 month and 2 months or 1 month and 3 months.
Hello, Irene. I think this one of instant loan you can handle better than me because you've been handling the instant loan for us.
Yeah, so the instant loan one is 1 month. And then
Okay,
this
the
is
other one is
repayments within 1 month. I think it's 30 days. And then this one is usually, I shouldn't say 1 month because I think it is 30 days. Please correct me, Lydia, if I'm wrong. And then I think this one is repayments within 90 days.
Okay, that's the number 2. Okay.
Yeah. And when you're about to, I think when you're applying inquiry, I think it does show. It should show you
Okay.
which one is which.
Thank you.
What you're doing. I'm not raising her to be dependent on men. Is you accepting flowers any different from me accepting a trip to Puerto Rico? Yes.
Mildred, did you have a question?
Okay. Are you independent?
No. Okay, anyone else before we move to anyone else with a question, comment? Question for Rosemary, for Brenda. I think Lydia is here. Cynthia is here on loans processing. Anything people want to add? Someone has an iPhone 127. You have put yourself off mute. Did you want to contribute?
Hey, may I ask a question?
Yes.
This is better.
Yes,
Can you
go
hear me,
ahead.
Irene?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
There's a member here who wants to ask a question. She's on mute. I don't know why she's on mute, but if she can unmute, she can ask a question. But, okay, great. I see she has unmuted. So please, this is the forum for you to ask your question on loan.
My name is Eunice Ochieng.
Hi,
And
Eunice.
I was assuming, I'm sorry I came in late, and I was assuming you have not reached the loan repayment part. So can I just ask the question that I have?
Yes, please.
Now, I took a loan some time back, and I find myself in a very awkward situation or an embarrassing situation. I try to pay the loan consistently, but at some point, whatever business I was doing did not go the way I expected, and so I defaulted. And when I was taking the loan, I guaranteed myself. I was not guaranteed by anybody. I guaranteed myself. And I thought that if I default, my savings will be taken and will be used to offset that loan. But that was not the case. Right now, my loan is multiplying daily. I was told it is now multiplying daily. It is giving birth daily. So I was not able to follow up because of issues or situations that I was going through. But I assume that when I get the money, I'll just resume, I'll just pay, or it will be cleared through my savings. And at one point, I even said that my money, which was supposed to be refunded to me, should have gone to pay that loan. There was money which was being refunded, the agricultural refund. So right now I was told that it is giving birth daily. I contacted the office, but now I was wondering, how did I get there? If I guaranteed myself and my money was there, and how did the system allow me to go to an extent that I'm now the loan which was remaining 40,000, right now it has escalated to 78,000, and it is still multiplying daily, and yet I had thought that I secured the loan with my savings. So up to that, I still don't understand how it got there. But the explanation I got from the office from Lydia is that I guaranteed somebody, and so my savings was tied to that guarantee, the guarantor, the thing the person I guaranteed, so they could not take it because my savings was locked, which I think it is not right. You should not have allowed me to guarantee somebody if I also have a loan which is locked to, which is used as a guarantee for myself. That's just about all I wanted to ask.
Okay. Eunice, we usually don't want to discuss someone's personal circumstances on public calls, but you've brought it up. So Brenda, or actually, no, it's not fair to let Lydia comment. Brenda, do you want to comment on that one?
Yeah, why I'm bringing it to the public forum is because I think many people will fall victims, or many people's loans are. And then again, another question, another angle to that is that maybe if somebody is defaulting and the loan is headed towards multiplying daily, somebody needs to be warned, or something needs to be done, or so urgently or regularly. Reminder, the system should be reminding me that this loan is now going like this and it is getting out of hand, and it should not be allowed to just go on and give birth crazily. And this is a member who is also maybe in a situation that is tricky, and yet I thought I cushioned myself. So even the system, I think, should do some justice to the members so that it is not just a crazy like a Shylock in the street somewhere in town. So that's what I wanted to bring up, even as I prepare or try to see how that loan will be offset through my savings.
Okay, I can try to maybe comment on that. Eunice, did you receive any notification from the office that your loan was outstanding at the point where, at what point did you receive the notification, if at all?
Yes, I received a notification from the office that I need to pay the loan, and I was told to write a letter to the credit team, which I did. I'm yet to confirm if the credit team responded to that letter. I'm trying to look through my mails, but I had said that I'm going to try and pay it within 4 months because I thought I was going to do that. So I got notification and I responded to that and said I'm going to try and pay, and I paid the first installment. I was to pay it in 4 installments, but I was not able to do that. But still, it is outstanding, and it is still now giving back daily. But I just wanted to bring it up so that you see another way of going around it, so that if I have cushioned myself with my savings, then I should not find myself in that situation.
Okay, a lot of times I think this happens when like you get into a situation and then you don't say anything and nobody knows. And I think sometimes when you receive the notification, I don't know if you responded immediately after receiving the notification, because the office sends notifications 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 regularly. I don't know at what point you actually brought up that you are going to pay. And then when you say you're going to pay, if there are changes of plans, I think it would be nice to kind of get together back to the office to tell them, okay, whatever I had said I was going to do, I'm not able to do it. And now, because they can't know if you don't let them know. But you bring up an important point that, you know, it shouldn't get to that far. And I think that's where the due diligence part that I was talking about earlier goes, where, you know, we need time to look into people's personal circumstances. Maybe once you already guaranteed somebody for a loan, I don't know what came first. You guaranteed somebody, then took a loan. You shouldn't have been allowed to take a loan after guaranteeing somebody if all of your savings was held up in the guarantee. if the guarantee happens afterwards, it shouldn't have been accepted because you already had your savings tied up.
Yes, I
with your loan.
guaranteed the
So-
person after I took a loan, long after I took a loan. And my loan was
Okay,
being paid. So it was after.
Yeah. Okay. So I think like in terms of details, I cannot give a detailed answer here until I look at the issue with the office. But this is where the question goes back to how long the processing takes. I think the quick turnaround time and the person is in a hurry, I want my loan now, blah, 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 and it can lead to people overseeing things like this. I think it should be something that I will definitely look into it with the office and we'll come up with an answer. And I don't know at what point you had communicated. I'm just going to go back and look at the communication and see what you had said you were going to do versus how long it had been outstanding before it got to this 70-something thousand, which is way over your savings. Another thing is, are you still regularly saving or did you just stop saving at all?
Because of the issues, the unforeseen circumstances that that occurred, I was not in a position to. I mean, I got discouraged because I was not in a position to pay the monthly and also service my loan. And at one point, I just lost it. So it's because I really can't explain why, but right now I'm not paying. There's a time I paid a whole 6 months at once, and I thought I would just be doing 1 year at once or 6 months. But when I heard about that, I really got discouraged and I lost it somewhere.
So
okay, I think you can side chat me and then we can look into detail on your issue and then come back with a specific answer for you.
Yeah, so I was going to suggest that, Brenda, because time is going and I think Vicky and Betha have a comment and I want to move to the budget. But I also want to just say a few things. So one of the things we are proposing is the 90%. That's why the 90% is coming, because you're going to get penalties if you don't pay the loan. So if you're given 100% of your savings and you keep on you get penalties because you're not paying the loan, then there's no way to recoup that money back. And that's where I think the system does not allow us to write off a loan when you have less savings than the loan. And in this case, I think for you is less savings than the loan, and then you also have a guarantor as well. So the system is not going to allow that loan to be written off, or just because of that, because of those many factors, because the in that case the SACCO will go at a loss. And we tried, I think that we talk about cases, but they're not specific, so it didn't come to my head. It's your case, but we did talk about a case with the auditor as well on this one, because we wanted to do a bad debt and we were told we cannot do bad debts. Bad debts have to be presented at the AGM because we've never presented in our budget provision for bad debt, so we cannot sort of write off someone's loan. I think another thing is Lydia has been working very hard with our provider to kind of a lot of those issues we've been having, because as we said, we had an upgrade and it was on loan functionalities, because we've had a lot of issues on loan functionality. And I hope with the upgrade, they've upgraded their system and sorted out some of those things. I know we had issues with advance payments, which they're telling us is now sorted out, and sort of just issues like those. Betha. So I'd stop talking too much.
Okay, quickly, I was just going
Could
to
I just...
I thought they said Betha.
It's okay.
Can I
Let
go ahead?
Betha continue. Yes, please do.
Yeah, mine is just going to be a quick comment, and that's why I wanted her to ask the question here. But for me, what I needed, the comment I need to make, I know the ladies at the office, they're very thorough, and I know that they do a good job. My only question is, and I also know we upgraded to a different system as opposed to what we used to use before. So the thing that's scary about this one is that if a member has has a loan, and then that member's money is used to guarantee another person, so either the new system you cannot check. I'm not sure. I've not used it a lot. Whether the new system you can check, this might be a system failure if somebody can be allowed to guarantee somebody else, and they have a loan that covers all of their savings. So we just need to be a little bit careful with that, because if this member disappears, then it means the other person, and then if the other person who's guaranteed fails to pay, and this person also has a loan that's covered by the savings, then the society, the group is going to lose money. So we just need to make sure that the new system can give alerts when somebody is being proposed as a guarantor. Thank you.
Yes, I also
Thank you,
had a
Bertha.
question or
Susan,
a comment.
go on.
Okay, so there was this issue that I had. I'm not in the finance department, so I don't know, but there was something that was being said, the Donde bill, that if somebody had a loan or something, it should not go, is it 3 times or more of what they have already paid? So do we have any of these captions in our loan requirements, so that if should anybody for one reason or another have a problem like what our sister has gone through, so that like the way she's saying it's giving birth every day, is there a way that this can be capped so that again it does not go excessively?
We have discussed that, Susan, with our system vendor, and that's one of the things we are pushing for, because you're right. I also thank you for giving me the name, because I was telling someone and I couldn't remember what the name of the bill was, because there is a bill that says how much you can charge, and we've been trying. I think we've talked to our vendors. One of the things we were looking at, how can we stop penalties from accruing when someone reaches a certain amount. I'm not sure if that is in the new upgrade, because I didn't see that, but we will continue, just asking them, what do we do? What we've done in the past, because this is not the only case. We've had some other cases, but we usually revert back, but we can't do case has been finalized. The office usually looks at the amount, then they sort of reverse back the penalties. And please, Lydia, if I'm saying something wrong, please stop me. They can go into the system with the help of our vendor and reverse back some of the penalties until the penalty that's acceptable, and then that's when it's paid. But with this case, I think they cannot touch. Sometimes we cannot touch an account when the account itself has other issues. The system will just not let us touch that account. So they have to let it run through until they've done the investigations.
Okay.
And please, Lydia, if I'm saying something that's not accurate, stop me. And Brenda as well. And if no one else had other comments on loans, we've gone through a lot on that one. We could go on onto the budget. Brenda, do you want to share that? And I think Betha has asked if you can share a copy of the budget as well.
Okay. I'm going to share my screen.
Okay, I'll stop sharing. And it's over to you, Brenda.
Okay, just a moment. So Fab, once you can see my screen. Wait, what can you see on my screen? Yes, which one is here? Can you see like a budget thing? Excel budget draft.
Can someone see
Anyone?
Brenda's screen? I cannot see anything shared.
Yes,
Oh,
I
yes,
can see the screen.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. You can see it?
Yes.
Somehow. Okay, now. And let me go through. So I will just, first of all, just put some basics here. 2024, this one is the actual current, what we have spent. for the year 2024. You notice that new members we have not put here for 2025, 2026. That's still subject to discussion. I will share that once we have. Then this line is 2025, and then this year we've decided to also do 2026. I'll explain. This is because usually we get to the end of the year, then between January and when the AGM runs, we kind of are tied. We can't do anything, or rather, if we don't have any quote unquote tentative approved budget or estimate, we really can't go over or do any activities that might be needed to be done between January and the time we have our AGM. So this is provisional. Of course, it might not stay exactly how it is. It's subject to change. So for next year, we'll have, or rather, for the next year's AGM, we'll have 2026, 2027, and 2027 will be provisional. What we've done here is we normally just kind of estimate it by above by a certain percentage, but it's an estimate percentage. It could change based on the reality of whatever happens here. So as you can see, this budget here, it's just increased slightly, but by the current inflation rate from the central bank website, which is about 299 as at end of last year, or rather as at the beginning of the year. The inflation rate is not constant, but we just picked a number to use for now. Okay, I'm going to just go through certain line items based on like stuff that has increased. Line number 2, statutory obligations. There is a comment there that says that NSSF will double from what we were paying in 2023, but this year we'll pay double the amount. I think the rates have changed. When it comes to what else is outstanding here, AGM expenses, this is just because of now as moving to a place where we are starting to have more hybrid AGMs. This 2024 was just based on everything was fully online. So this is just an estimate based on a hybrid scenario. Again, this is the first year we are having our hybrid AGM, and we're going to see how things happen or how things actually turn out. And then based on that, we could make a decision for the future. Moving on further down to rent expense, we did move to a new office. So on an annual basis, there is a certain amount of rent. It started on lower, and then it has a certain percentage increase annually up to a certain cap. So we did sign that contract, and so some of those expenses, you can see that there's a difference here. It's a bigger office in a better location, so yeah, it's slightly more expensive. Moving on to what else? I think those are the major ones. Training and education. We are planning to do a lot this year in terms of AML training, as well as policy contracts within our service providers like Safaricom and Quora, as well as team building exercises for both the staff members and the management team. There is a new line item. Okay, not really. A loan loss provision. According by the advice of our auditor, we do need to provide for bad debt provision, and so that has been accounted for there. And the rest of it is just regular stuff. Okay, I'm going to talk about the committee sitting allowance. So this is the first year that we are going to have a full year end to end of sitting allowances from there, because last year it didn't start quite at the beginning. We started right after the AGM. So you can see that amount slightly going up. And then I think it should stay the same. I don't think we will add it by, this is just a standard formula, adding it by 30%, but I think this has to still be passed in the AGM. CSR is another line item that we didn't used to have a figure here, and we used to request members to, what is it called, contribute, or rather, we used to fundraise. This year, the change is that we are going to cater for it within the budget. So this is the amount that we settled on, and the amount will basically stay the same unless otherwise voted by the members. That's it. And then this year, the only difference we would have, we basically furnished our whole office. A lot of furnishings happened last year. We did have a new computer, and we're going to get 2 visitors' chairs for our new office. That's it for the budget. Any questions, concerns, suggestions? Most welcome.
Yeah, I have a question, Brenda.
Mm-hmm.
So we were supposed to have a different line for bad debt, because I remember she said we have loan loss provision, which we have to do according to the government, but we need a budget line for bad debt so that if we have to write off a debt, then it comes from that line item. Because she said loan loss
Question, Lydia,
provision
now
does
that
not
I'm
allow
not
us to write off debts.
Okay. I'm not an accountant. Lydia, does bad debt provision go in the balance sheet, or does it go also here? Like depreciation and stuff?
Because loan loss provision is depreciation, isn't it? But bad debt, like allowing us to Betha has her hand up, so maybe she has a better answer than I do.
Yeah, I will, let me hear from Betha, and then we can, Betha, go for it. Betha, do you hear me? Or is it better that's on mute?
We can hear you. Betha is on mute.
Okay.
Oh, okay. But now I had a different question.
Oh, okay.
And the question you are asking about that one, I think Lydia should be able to answer that.
Yeah, you still see my screen?
Brenda, there's a comment on the screen that you should enlarge your screen, please.
Okay. Is that better? Give me a thumbs up if it's good.
Not yet. You need to enlarge it a little bit more.
Okay. I'm technologically challenged here. I'm using 2 screens. Manober.
Manober.
Okay. All right. From an accountant's point of view, Lydia, provision for bad debts, I will add a line here. And I think there was a calculation that we've also given, Irene. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? They were.
Yeah, there's a calculation based on the watch. I mean, the what is it called? The status of the loan, I think. Is it the loan loss?
Yeah, for the loan loss provision.
Not loan loss provision. There was.
The bad debt provision.
So what's the difference between bad debt and loan loss? So our auditor had said, so last year, as we were saying, we had challenges with loans. So one of the loans, the person completely potted. So we had to write off the loan. And she told us we're not allowed to do that. We're not allowed to write off a loan unless it's been passed by members as, I can't remember if she said as a budget or as an item in the AGM. So she told us we have to put a budget item for bad debt, and that's how we can that's what we use to write off loans.
Yeah, that's true. And even Lydia is saying here in the comment, and Lydia, that the auditor said she'll introduce bad debts in AGM alongside writing off the loans. But I think we still have to budget for it, right? I mean, it's not in the budget. So if the members shoot it down, all we have to do is just remove it from the budget. Because if we don't budget for it, then it's a goner, right? Lydia, are you in a position to comment on that? I don't want to put you on the spot, but yeah, Polly. Okay, Lydia,
hi everyone. Thanks, Brenda.
Hi. No problem.
It's fine. On the bad debts provision, what the auditor said during accounts review, that she will introduce writing off the loans and the bad debts provision during the AGM. So it goes into the budget after members' review and agreement. That's what she said. Thanks.
Okay, so we should just have the line but not have an amount until after the AGM. Is that what you're saying? Like if it's passed?
Yeah, that's what she advised.
Okay. It's kind of strange because then we wouldn't know how much, what the calculation is. I'm wondering how it's going to be kind of chaotic to introduce it and then start talking about the calculation there and the AGM, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me and my brain, how I work. I like to kind of know ahead of time, but it's okay. We can leave it as that way. Is everyone comfortable letting it be and having it?
Can I say something?
Yes, Becca.
Go for it, better.
Well, if the books were audited, that should have been in there. That's an item that should have been there on the audited books. So I'm not sure what exactly that means. So if it's something that should be there, it needs to be on the audited books, or I'm not sure whether it will be adjusted later or what, but if it's supposed to be there, it should be on the audited books. That's just my comment on that. But let me know when I can ask my other question.
Yeah.
Okay, I think what the auditor was saying is that we really can't put it in our books until the members pass it. So it has to be something that if it's being written off, it's going to be in the next books, not in last year's books.
Yeah. So Brenda, in the interest of time, and I don't want to sort of cut you off because
no,
people
you're
have
good.
not asked other questions about the budget.
Yeah, I mean,
Brenda, Betha, Vicky.
Betha had an additional question. Yeah.
And Brenda, what I'm saying is it should show up in the budget for the 2025. I didn't mean the 2024 books.
Oh, the budget. Yes, that's my feeling as well. I just don't know why the auditor would not want it there. So I think we'll just put it there. And if members don't agree, we'll just remove it.
Okay, my question to you is this. Can I ask the question about the budget?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, on your spreadsheet here, you are showing us, if I'm looking at it, we have the actual for 2024, and then we have the budget for 2025 and 2026. I would have loved to see how we performed in 2024 compared to the budget for 2024. Do you have that?
Oh,
So
I
that
do have
way,
that, yeah.
Yeah, if we are looking at the 2025, then the numbers you're giving us in 2025 will make sense, because if the actual is way far from what we had budgeted in 2024, then we might not see the whole true picture.
Yeah, I do have that. So let me see. Let me hide these percentages. Okay, so that's the 2024 budget versus actual. Budget is on the right, actual is on the left. So on some we went over, on some we went below. And I'm going to, when I send the final product, it will have the budget and actual. I kind of feel like this budget should have been on the left, but anyway, that's just my OCD-ness. It should be good. Did you have any questions based on the comparison difference? I don't want to cut you off before moving on to the next other two questions that were pending.
Just you give us a moment. I mean, budget is a big thing, but especially the numbers.
Mhm.
Give us a little moment in case we have a question. We can come back to it because we have to take a look and see. Um, so when you said the increase, when you put in the 2025 budget, what did you use? Just a percentage to say we hope it's going to increase by this, or you're actually basing it on something?
Okay, so the only thing I can say is, for example, the salaries, the employee costs, I just increased them by the inflation rate. But everything else, like statutory obligations, we use what we are given by the government or the directives, like, for example, the NSSF amount going up. M-Pesa bank charges, we're just looking at the volumes of transactions. Website expenses, we're looking at, it's basically standard, but we're just kind of looking at things like web maintenance and things like that, or additional things that we have to do. AGM expenses is based on the type of AGM we're going to hold. If we don't hold an actual physical AGM, the amount drastically goes down. Professional fees is based on like what we need to do. Do we need to engage an external auditor and things like that? So different line items are really dependent on what exactly we need to do for that year, for that line item. Things like rent, of course, like, wait, hold on one second. Hold on a hot second. So in 2024, you can see the budget was 300,000 for rent, but our actual was 117. This 300,000 was based on, we have already been planning to move for a very long time. We actually did finally get to move at the end of the year, so we didn't get to spend most of this budget, so that explains the difference like that. And then these amounts are actually based on the contracts that we actually have at the moment, what it's going to cost us for rent over the coming 2 years, 2025 and 2026. And I think that's all I have in terms of comments. If you see something
What about the
glaring,
revenue? How did you estimate the revenue?
income. Wait, total income. Ngoja kidogo. 1 moment. Interest on advances. I think our revenues for the interest here are based on like our current deposits, how they are likely to go up, and based on the current interest rates. Those are standard. We did have additional investments, with CBK and stuff like that. So that accounts for the increased revenue. And then registration fees. So you can see the registration fees for 2025. I think it's, wait, hold on one second. Okay, so because we didn't meet our budget for 2024, we fell very much short of our budget. We did just increase slightly from our actual in 2024 for 2025. So we are not trying to beat this number, but rather keep to this number and slightly more, something like that.
Sorry,
Help
Brenda.
me out
I
here,
think I'm
Lydia,
going
on terms of.
Sorry, Brenda. Can I
Go ahead.
ask? I shouldn't be asking a question because I've looked at this 101 times. I should have
Yeah,
picked that up.
ask away.
But
Ask
I
away.
think
It's a team effort. If I'm not able to answer, I think we can all
that's
chip
fine.
in
Mine is
because
not
it's not
an answer.
Brenda
It's
document.
it's not an answer. It's actually a
ahead.
question because I think I've raised this before. I feel we cannot have a registration fee unless we have budget for new members because they go hand in hand.
Okay, so we should budget for how many members we are planning to recruit.
Yes, and then that registration fee should be that multiplied by 2 by the registration fee. That I'm not saying we do that now, but I just think that's the way it should be going, not the other way around.
Well, based on this, my computer went off. Oh boy, hold on, let me turn it back on. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Everybody.
that's okay. That's okay, Brenda. While you're turning it on, and Irene, that's exactly why I'm asking the question, because when you put a number in there, you're basing it on something. You have to base it on, I'm thinking I'm going to recruit so many people, or we think this time we are going to have so many loans like this, like that. So it has to be based on something. That's what I was trying to see. What are the numbers based on? They look
The numbers
modest,
are based on our current performance,
and
and
so the
it's
current
just
performance
increased by a
projected.
certain. Yeah, it's increased by a certain percentage. Hold on, I'm just logging in. So like that recruitment part, the deposit
Mm.
part, I think what has happened is, can you still see my screen? Ama nimepotea kabisa.
No, it's not back
You
on
can
yet.
see WhatsApp. So, brother, can I say we come back with the income, because unfortunately, I also didn't look at that income. I looked at the expenses, the budget on
Yes.
expenses, and not on the income, because what I've seen there as well, we've under budgeted on the interest that we are potentially going to get from CBK. Given the CBK interest that we get is pretty standard, we know
Yes.
what we're going to get.
Yes.
It shouldn't be a calculation on something else.
And exactly and you know why it is important to look at the revenue, because the revenue is the money that's coming in. So if we are not sure about the revenue, then we cannot even pay for the expenses. So it's the revenue that we have to make sure that the revenue we are showing, and it's very modest. It's not exaggerated, but we just want to know that the revenue that we are projecting is something we can say that, just like you're saying, looking at those money from that, you can easily project and say, we know this amount is going to come in based on this.
Okay. All right. Please allow me to reshare. I think I've lost my sharing rights and I don't even know where I am anymore. Let me know when I can post participant.
I have made you co-chair again. Is it the standard document on the Google Drive? Because I can share it. Oh, you're sharing. That's fine.
It's it's that document. So yeah, so I think, Lydia, are you taking notes? The changes therein are going to be that we are estimating the budgeted number of people that we are potentially going to recruit, and then that is what is going to advise this. And then, like Irene, like you said, the CBK and them should be standard, because we already know what we have in there and what our prof or interest is going to be. Not something that we are guessing. Yeah. So let's move on to the next. I think Vicky had a question and somebody else. I lost track because I got thrown out of the meeting.
Yeah, Vicky, you had a question?
No?
Yeah, but Betha had raised it. I wanted to ask if you have the 2024 exact expense, and Betha had already raised it.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Anyone else? Oh, you have a question, Elizabeth? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, so I still haven't got clarity on the loan loss and bad debt. Is it possible that as Jowes members during the AGM, we talk about someone who would borrow loan and just refuse to pay? What happens to the guarantors? Or what do we cushion? Do they have monthly payments? We may need to think around those. And then I'm seeing the rent is going to rise the first year by 76. Is there value add for it as it goes? By the third year, you're going to pay 250,000. assuming that we will have increase of member or decrease of member. And then for professional fees and consultancies, is it something that you'd want to consolidate as one, so that you're having professional fees paid to lump sum, whoever you want to engage, so that it's not only on, I saw Cusco and Sasra, you'd have that budget
Oh, that,
for all
yeah.
the consultancies that you'd engage, unless professional fees includes something different. I've
I
always
think
wondered
professional
why.
fees
Mhm.
includes like legal stuff. Oh no, legal is separate. Oh, never mind. Yeah, you're right. Now that you've brought it up, now I'm even confused.
Yeah. If Jowes is engaging anyone, whether you're paying professional fees or you're engaging them on at some terms, and so you're assuming you're engaging an outsider as a consultant, so you'll either pay them consultancy fees or you'll pay them professional fees or accommodation or transport. Is that what that budget
Yeah.
means, or it means different?
So I'll tell you what exactly happened with the professional fees. So for professional fees, we had a tax consultant last year that looked into what we've been paying for taxes throughout for the entire, since we were born or since the circle started. And so against the budget of 40,000, we ended up spending about, I think we spent the same 40,000, but the other 10,000, I think we paid for something else. I don't quite remember, but yeah, that was it. In terms of this line, Cusco, Safra policies, we haven't actually, this is something that we found, it's legacy. We found it in the budget. We have never actually used this line item. So I'm actually questioning, I'm leaning towards your suggestion of kind of just putting professional fees together with the consultancy fees as one line, as opposed to two lines. So that's just, now that you brought it up, that's just my initial thought. And anyone else can chime in if.
Because I'm thinking for consultancies, you're either hiring a legal person for consultancy, and then there'll be an auditor for auditing, and then you'll probably have maybe specialists coming on education day. And so everything would go from that budget. And I'm seeing there's a training and education. Is it again, what do you mean by training stroke education?
So the education committee has a budget line item. So this includes any person that may be invited, if, for example, if it's a paid engagement, or the training that we have for staff, and also things like team building for management. So that's all included in there.
Then when you explain it, then it may mean different for someone. So you'd have trainings. So trainings would probably even be part of trainings of the management. And education, again, if you're engaging a specialist, it goes to the facilitation fee that might include consultancy. Usually, when you're working with members and it's a group of many people, when they see many little budget items, it looks like we're spending more than we are getting. But if you do it as a lump sum consultancy, then you already have an idea on how many consultancies do you need, how many education days, or who do you want to invite. And then you'd have a budget line for communication. Because I'm not sure if you're having communication softwares, is it coming hand in hand with what you call as the procuring of lap desktop? I saw something on desktop. Adobe.
That's actually, oopsie, sorry,
So
I moved too far.
So can I talk on communication software? So we usually had this as a line. So we had it as small, we had the name of the software. And one of the things even Adobe, I think that one we've forgotten. So one of the things we're trying to do is make the name, so it's a software. So maybe we could lump them. I don't know if we could lump them all in software fees, and just do software so that it's web. I don't know if that's allowed. So I think from my perspective, it's a bit naivety on what we can lump together and what we cannot. So lumping software together would mean we're putting the Sacco core banking software, we're putting our Adobe, we're putting the communication softwares that we use, like the MailChimp. It used to be small. We've now changed to MailChimp and things like that. So is that what you're saying, that we should actually just lump those software things together?
Yes, because now when I'm looking at software and I want to procure, then I will go to that line budget. And then you'll have listed what softwares you have. And because that is different from what you have as Wi-Fi and probably airtime, which Wi-Fi and internet expenses, would that come under office operations or?
Wi-Fi, hold on. What line is that?
Wi-Fi
sorry?
and
Oh, Wi-Fi and
internet
internet expense.
35.
Yeah, that's actually the internet that we use all year.
Yes, the
Prepaid
question is,
internet
it
that
part
we
of
use.
communication or it's just internet?
It's not part of communication. It's internet. Communication involves things that we use for, like Zoom, Zoom and other marketing softwares that we use for like producing, what is it called, flyers, vouchers, and things like that. But the Wi-Fi is actually the actual Wi-Fi that we use in the office.
So Zoom is on a line on its own. Sorry, Brenda, I'm not right.
Oh, is Zoom on a
Yeah,
line
Zoom
on
is
its
also
Yeah,
own?
on
I've
a
seen
line
it
on
on a
its
line
own.
its own. So that's
Yes.
what I'm trying to, I think I'm trying to get clarification from what Elizabeth is saying,
My
and
eyes are
probably,
not good. Where is
yeah.
that Zoom? Oh, yeah.
Because you also have SACCO software expenses at 32. So there's SACCO software expenses, and then there's communication softwares at 48. And then you have Adobe at 47.
Yeah, all this, I think we had, you know what I have a feeling has happened, Irene? I think we had requested for this to be consolidated and then somehow it got dropped along the way. Let me do a better job at consolidating this. I think I'm just going to have to sit down and see which one goes with which one and just add them together. You're right about people having the impression that we are overspending based on the line items rather, than thinking, okay, we're actually spending on things that we need. So I'll go in and consult with my very able colleagues so we can put things together based on logic. I mean, you're very right about it being very confusing at this point, yeah.
And then probably just the last one, when you look at employee costs, so usually the statutory obligations have really, there's a housing levy, the SHA, which may have affected their contract and also has brought their salaries down. Are you having a provision of that come 2025?
So wait. So we did have salary reviews 2023, 2024. This year, because as you can see, what did we do? No, we only catered for inflation. We only catered for inflation. We haven't catered for like the percentage effect that the new statutories were having. However, if I think about it, I think the housing levy was already in place when we did our last review.
Yeah,
so it
just
kind of is taken care of, but not sure.
So
Go ahead,
wasn't
Irene.
that why we went over budget last year?
Yes, we
Because
went
were
over
trying to
budget
cater for
last
the
year.
housing.
That's part of the reason. Another reason is that we underspent the previous year. We had some budget. We still had some room for increase, to increase the salaries, but that had not been implemented on the previous year. So we ended up spending less the previous year. Yeah, so that's why the amount you can see, and I'm going to open 2023. It's here.
Yes, because we have to be careful. Sometimes if we implement the SHA and the housing levy, and then the employee is not able to get a third, which is a must. So what that means is that you have to go back and check, is it something that you can review their salaries to be able to have them get their a third minimum?
No, I can't. Okay, so you can see the 2023 action. So the 2023 budget was 1.1, but so we didn't spend that. We spent much less. We see the 2023 actual was 831. So you understand. So now, based on the 831, that's what the budget for 2024 was based. But we did have extra money that was unutilized, if you so speak, over here. So we still had leeway. I think this was kind of an oversight on our part. We shouldn't have. It seems like we under budgeted now and overspent if you look at it in real terms. But what it was that we had money that we had not spent, so we still had room. When this whole SHA and housing levy thing came up during that year, then we still had room, and that's why we upped the salaries. But yeah, so it's something that I think we can still sit down and look at in real terms, like what was an employee earning, for example, in 2024 versus what their salaries have gone to in 2024 before they, when we actually increase it versus what they're earning now because of the stuff like NSSF is going up, you know. I think that's something that we need to look at. I've expanded this just so you can see what I was talking about with regards to the budget in 2023 versus the actual. We actually had more than 200,000, I believe, that was not utilized during
Okay.
that year. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. So because now I have actually seen the notes on NSSF will double from February 2025 to
It's now
4,330. And so that means, yes, so you'll check the adjusted inflation rate vis-a-vis all the statutory deductions so that they're able to pay this amount. Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay,
I'll make
thanks.
sure that
That's all.
before we do the final one. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your input.
So just to, sorry,
Any-
Brenda.
Mhm. Yeah.
Again, I shouldn't be asking questions here. So just to clarify, so the statutory obligations, is that
Yeah.
the employee cost is then the statutory obligations plus the employee cost, just given the NSSF doubling is on the statutory obligations line?
I think the statutory obligation, this is our obligation as,
Okay.
because you know, there's the part
Yeah.
where the employer pays.
So
and
that's
then there's
what
the
we are
part
paying.
where,
Okay, understood.
yeah, that's what we are paying. Yeah. It's not what is being deducted, but what we're paying. Any other questions, suggestions? Okay, now, shall I stop sharing? Going once, twice. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Back to chair. I believe, Irene, you're standing in for the chair.
Yes.
Education.
Jackie is away today. Anyone else has any comments about the budget, the loan policy before we close and go to Mdomo therapy?
I mean, I have a question. I don't know if it's a question or a comment. I don't know. We'll see where to put it. On that, on the loan policy that we are being given, there were some recommendations that were being implemented based on what Quara had advised. Does it mean that if we happen to get another software, we will go as per their recommendations? Because I thought we should be going as per our needs, not as per the supplier's needs.
So I can answer some of those, as unfortunately Rosemary has had to leave. So with some of them, we've asked, how do other SACCOs handle this? And they've kind of fed back to us how other SACCOs who use their software handle those situations. So with one of them was the 90%, was people, their penalties, keep on increasing. So we just asked, how do other SACCOs handle this, so that it comes within, when you give out a loan, you still have, someone has taken their savings, but you still have money for insurance, you still have money for penalties should they accrue penalties, so that the SACCO is not losing any money. And they've given us a recommendation on what other SACCOs who use their software are doing to mitigate some of those, and that's what we've put there. So some of the products that they have, and that's why we've kind of brought it for people to decide. So they've told us they're seeing a lot of increase in instant loans, because from the SACCOs who reward members who pay back, let's put it that way. So we can say it's 10%, but if we can say, actually, our instant loans, instead of just being 10% of your savings, we can say it's between 5 to 20%, for example. And then you'll always start at 5%. But then if you're active in taking that loan, and you're active in paying, then why shouldn't you? You've proved to us that you're a good loan, you're a good loan taker, you pay on time. So why shouldn't we reward you by giving you a chance to take a bigger loan as an instant product? So it's not that we're just taking what they've said. We're not going to implement it until it comes here. On the instant loan between 1 and 10, so that was a mistake, not really a mistake, but something that was decided in the last AGM, but not really minuted properly, because it was 1 to 5. But after the AGM, we'd put it 1 to 5, I think, initially. Then at the AGM, members said they wanted it 11 to 50 and 1 to 10. So we implemented that in Quara. But unfortunately, in the loan policy, I don't think that's what the loan policy was saying. And I think it's just the credit committee want to align those together. So that's the one for the instant loan. But for the others, it's Quara's suggestion of how other SACCOs are handling some of the issues we are coming up with. And we can't implement that unless we bring it to you. So that's why we're saying, as per Quara's, recommended, we should maybe change that wording. Have I made sense, or have I just talked in my own head?
Yeah, the wording was the issue.
Yeah, so it still has to be passed by members in the AGM, but that's their recommendation to us, how other SACCOs have handled some of the issues that we're sort of just learning from others. Any other comments before I request for prayer and close? And
Last question.
Yep, go on, Beth.
Do you guys know when the audited financials will be ready?
Lydia, Brenda, I think that one's yours.
Short answer is we are almost sending them to be registered. I think that will happen on Monday, depending. Lydia, what is pending? You still have anything that we haven't done as management? Let me know. But I think that the only part was, I think we were supposed to sign. We finally got them back and were supposed to make a couple of minor corrections which were not dependent on anyone. It was just internal. Then sign and take it to registration from my last discussion with Lydia. So we really are on injury time right now, and we have a very short time. So it has to be done Monday first thing in the morning. And then I don't know. We just have to cross our fingers, knock on wood. I don't know. Make a prayer, something, so that it's out by the time we need it to be out. but we are on course.
Okay, great. I was just hoping that if they come out, if you guys can at least, we can give us opportunity to take a look at it so that when we go into AGM, we have questions, or if we can have the questions before then to shorten the AGM time, that would be grateful. Thank you so much for your
Yeah, they'll
service.
be circulated. Yeah, no problem. They'll be circulated beforehand. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, we were hoping to circulate them when we did the notice. In fact, we've done the notice in faith, with
I know.
fingers crossed that the books are going to be ready on time. Eunice.
Just as an AOB,
Yes.
I was just wondering, if we are about over 300, I can only see about 18 people, 18 participants. So maybe we should ask ourselves, how come people are not participating or in the meetings, or what should be done to make sure that there is quorum and good quorum? So I was just wondering that should be something that can be looked into to know why very few people are attending.
Yeah, good observation, Eunice. And when I comment now, I can only say it out of the recording. So if you sit for Mdomo therapy, I'll be able to answer you unofficially. I don't want to be recorded.
I will pass your comments to our education, to the education chair, who unfortunately is not here today. But I'd also like to say there's another AGM going on, and a lot of our members are part of that AGM. So part of that circle. So the usual faces that we see, some of the usual faces are not here. But yes, we need to increase our education day attendance. I do agree with you. Betha, you're
Good
off mute,
point, yeah.
assuming you want to speak.
Yes, you are right. I'm here, but I'm here. There's a lot of people over there that's on that, and I'm just finishing this and going over to the other side. But I really wanted to be here to listen to this, and there's a lot of people who are there that will be here. So that's the reason why we have but we still need to encourage people so that on the AGM day we can have a quorum so that we don't wait for a long time. But thank you so much.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, and Eunice, all of this will be presented in the AGM. We just like presenting it before the AGM, because in the AGM, there's so much going on. So people have already come with questions and suggestions and are on board with why we're introducing some of this before we get to the AGM. We usually hope it will shorten the AGM. It doesn't really work because, as you say, there are going to be 18 people here. There are going to be 80 at the AGM. So we'll have to repeat exactly what we've said again. But I guess that's the nature of the job.
Okay.
Okay, and if there's no other comment, if I could request someone to pray for us. If there are no volunteers, I will pick on Brenda. Brenda, I'm sorry.
Hey, let's pray. Father Lord, we thank you. Thank you for these wonderful ladies that have come today to support us during our education day. Thank you for all of their suggestions, and we know that they have put in their all in coming into this meeting. Some of them had other commitments, but they chose to come here instead. We pray that you may bless their families, bless their ways. Even as we end this meeting, we pray that you give us a blessed rest of the weekend. We praise you and thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 I will stop the recording.